Peace. Okay, back. Yeah. Up early eating almonds. Yeah, I woke up to some fucked up shit today. I I had to hang back and sleep with my daughter when my Wiz was taking my son to like a pediatric dentist because this motherfucker Link, if like the adult version of you was watching this or even like the teenage version, man, you're just like running around and breaking your face on everything, man. I can't keep you safe. And no matter what I do, man, you find ways to try to hurt yourself. So he chips up his front tooth real bad. He's only 2.5. My daughter's 4.5. Um, to the point where they actually have to put a cap on it, but he actually got at the root. So this is a couple of months back. So they cap his front tooth. He just keeps falling on his face again and again because he just can't stay out of trouble. Just like my daughter never did this, but he can't stay out of trouble. I find out first thing I wake up that they had to remove the tooth. So he's probably not going to have any tooth there in his grill till he's 7 or something, somewhere thereabouts. So, and the reason I'm talking about this, Link, if future you was watching or if anybody else watching, by the way, I'm not going to talk about SP1200s or any of that shit, so, um, you know, all this stuff compounds, right? So when that's happening, I've got some mechanical failures at my businesses, going on, which are an ongoing thing. There's always like a string of fucking mechanical failures, and what we do to compensate for that is we put something new in and we take out the thing that's broken and try to work on that, and then that pile grows and grows. Oh, you're gonna have to lose your storage. You're gonna have to move your shit in the next several months. So what I'm illustrating to you is that a lot of times, in my personal life, but I'm sure in everybody's, it's like you get disconnected from your power with a contemporary situation, something that's right in front of us. We got the toolkit, and it does, and that could be anything, right? It could be something as simple as be mindful, right? You already know that. Somebody's already taught you about the idea that the past is dead, and the future hasn't been born yet, so the only thing that's alive is now. The idea of being mindful, being in the moment. Sometimes that's your whole solution to a problem, but you don't use it. So that knowledge of our culture, our what we say is our way of life. If you say you claim that, you walk around and you tell other people this, that, or the other. You give them some advice, but you don't actually use that advice on self. That's problematic. It's leaves you in a powerless situation. I knew as a young man, I'd known ahead of time that you pay attention to what's going on. If you can affect some kind of change whatsoever, you're going to vote or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Or you're in there's a teachable moment. Somebody might be a little, may not know everything. A couple of things, you can maybe add that on. That's great. But then at the same time, though, to get so absorbed in something that you're taking like unrelated relationships, in your life and your everybody you're talking to, because if we wanted to talk about Trump every day and how crazy some shit he was doing was happening, if we wanted to do that, we could like fill every moment of every day with that kind of discussion. You know what I mean? And I just feel like a lot of us get bogged down, because we've got that one set of problems in our lives, whatever yours is. Mine's is, my kid's tooth got taken out, and I've got some business situations, and the million other things I'm not going to fucking talk about on camera, right? So you got that set of issues that you got to deal with, and those challenges. But then on top of that, you got like this whole entire atmosphere, negative atmosphere, just kind of whirling around social issues that, that are kind of flying in your face, even if it's not some shit that's in your life, right? Like, like I've been talking about lately, like the gender issue and the pronouns and all these other things. Even if it's not something in your day to day, it's something that's slapping you in the face wherever you go. You sign on to your Twitter, I don't really use Twitter, but you sign on to your Facebook account or your whatever it is, whirlwind of shit that's flying in your face. Like your version of like your kid's tooth pops out or this, that, your version of this, or your version of like, then combined with that, all these other things that, are waiting at your doorstep as soon as you walk outside or as soon as you go on the damn internet, right? All these other problems. You want to kind of get away from that and kind of reorient yourself, right? And kind of remind yourself of here you are, this living, breathing animal, beyond an animal, but you know, an organic being. And here you are, man, and you're trying your best to just kind of, you know, stay connected to the world, but at the same time, you have to be removed enough so as you don't go up in fucking flames with all this other stuff. So, you know, a good way to do that, I think, is take a walk or a run, a hike in the woods, right? So, you know, go on the internet, go to Google, you know, you're probably familiar with your area, but if you're not, you know, if that's not your kind of thing, you know, one of the things is look, you know, don't look up like the corniest place around, like, oh, okay, yeah, there's a place with a tree. You know, we're talking like, look for a fucking cool place by where you live. Like, because I used to live kind of like sandwiched in a super shitty area in New Jersey, but I could still find my way around. So what I would do is I'd say, okay, let me discover, and then I find that, oh, less than an hour away, I can drive my little hoopty out to the Delaware Water Gap, right? And then they've got the Douglas Trail and Sunfish Pond, and you can kind of get away for a minute and kind of reorient yourself in nature for a while. And that power, kind of reorient yourself to the knowledge of your culture. And if you don't have a way of life that promotes, you know, that level of control, you get it, you know, and really expressing and living out what your understanding is.
Huh. When I was making that video earlier, I had some real pretty shit in mind because it was a nice morning, but I guess the rain doesn't go away that quick. I try to keep it a 7.5 minute mile. When I get into terrain like this though, I'm not any good to anybody if I break a foot or a leg. So I'm keeping it closer to 8. Really helps put catastrophic thinking in check. You know what I mean? Because when you're dealing with your power, you're also talking about the truth, right? 5th letter in the alphabet is E, or equality. And that has a lot to do with balance, right? So the truth usually doesn't present itself all at one time. You know, you have to kind of look into the layers to really get to, you know, even keeping close to what you're looking for, right? So for example, the one I used today about my kid, man, you know, catastrophic thinking takes over, you know what I mean? But then when you start coming back to the other side of that, you know, 99.5% of the rest of his body is completely intact and thought to be fairly healthy, you know, in all other regards. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you know, you got to weigh both sides of the thing, not just look at, hey, shit, he's never gonna have a tooth again. And you know, I find that ability to, that's something I strive for, that ability to kind of exist here, but also somewhere else at the same time. Because I know for a fact that 3/4 of the time I'm gonna be struggling to swim. But I can't forget that at least 1/4 of the time I'm on solid ground. All right, y'all, I'm gonna get out of here before I bust my ass, because you don't even see what's going down. Peace.